Welcome to Mobility Monday. It is February 26th. David Saldivar, your mobility coach for today. And in this training lesson, this session, we're going to focus on some of the muscles that would be culprits to causing restriction and some of the human movement shapes that we should all be able to perform: lunging, squatting, and a few others. But typically, with the lunging and squatting, if we have a difficult time, we find that our sort of lumbo pelvic hip complex, from our quadriceps, TFL, IT, piriformis, glutes, most of the stuff here is anteriorly shortened and overactive. And a lot of times we find this posterior hamstrings, even in glutes, underactive and lengthened. And so what we're going to focus on today is just, focusing on the mobility of the muscles that are overactive, inhibiting those, lengthening those. And then later videos, we can focus on the activation phase of the posterior side, glutes, and then the hamstrings, which will ultimately help with the pelvis. If it's pulling and shifting, anteriorly, tilting, then we want to, of course, as we're releasing these muscles, find that relaxed state and then strengthen them so it maintains that position, ultimately reducing pain, preventing injury, and optimizing your performance. So again, quick 10-15 minutes, or short 10-15 minutes is all we're going to need to work on these muscles. So you're going to need a foam roller, or if you don't have a foam roller, you can grab a hydro flask, and that'll be fine too. And if you cannot perform this because you don't have a hydro flask or a foam roller, then you can perform the stretching techniques that I'll show you here shortly. And so a foam roller you can grab anywhere, Walmart or Target. But let's go ahead and jump into the first muscle we're going to focus on, and that's going to be the quadricep. And for this one, you need to lie face down. So my recommendations is that, and I'll show you from a lateral view, is that you're going to position the foam roller so that it's over one, or in forward of one leg. The opposite leg is going to be to the outside of the foam roller. Okay, so front looks like this, right? And then what I'm going to focus on is from the knee. I'm going to focus on that whole system up into the hip area. Okay, and when we roll, it's going to be a forward and back roll, as well as a lateral sort of sifting. And then you can also create some of this sort of twisting to sort of dig and tack and twist throughout the movement. We'll then add some movement, you moving the limbs, and I'll demonstrate, of course. And then, of course, adding some contraction, release to really get a deeper inhibiting of that muscle to really, you know, make a big difference, and to get the best from the experience. So the best results from the experience. And one thing I want to mention is that if you find that there's a spot that really calls your attention more than others, you don't want to hang out there for 30 seconds. Trash guy coming by. I'm gonna close the windows, guys. Hopefully that helps. But when you find those areas that call your attention, that are more tender than other areas, then, well, you want to spend more time there desensitizing those areas, because we should be able to put pressure on tissue and not feel that dis-ease. And so our mission here is to desensitize, and over time, as it desensitizes, you'll notice improve in tissue health, and then of course movement ability will improve as well. So but yeah, so again, you find those spots that need a little more love, just hang out there, breathe into it, attract into it, and then let's begin. All right, so from here, I'm going to position myself on all fours, knees, and then my elbows. I'm going to start with the foam roller just above the knee. And from here, I'm just going to move up and down. Now, the reason why I'm on my using my you want to use your knee and your elbows to support the weight. Okay, so making sure that this knee here is not too far out. It's under the hip line so that you can again control your weight to control the pressure. Okay, so always adjust that knee. Moving forward and back. This is a good one for those who sit a lot, who are on their computers a lot, all day. These, because of school or work, or whatever. This becomes very, very short and underactive. So most people will find that this is very, very tender, and so we don't want to go too fast. It's a slow process, 1 inch or so per second. Okay. And then just moving around to discover those areas that are extra tight. And if you find a spot, again, that needs a little attention, hang out there. Position yourself, support your weight, and just breathe. In and out for about 30 seconds, just allowing the weight to sink into the foam roller or the foam roller to sink into that muscle. Breathing in your nose, exhaling out your mouth. Make sure you guys can see me. And then I'm going to roll out of it. Okay. And so you can also sort of grind side to side. And when you're moving side to side, it's a 1,000, 1,000. Oh, that's a tight spot over that muscle. Okay. So we don't want to rush this process. So you notice I'm just moving over that muscle. 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. And again, as always, if it's almost unbearable, hang out there, breathe into it, control the weight that you put into that um, spot. Work at it slowly. Don't. It's not always about pain. It takes time, of course. So just embrace the experience, and then when you are complete with that hold, or you're hanging out in that one spot for a period of time, 30 seconds or so, you can now engage and squeeze or contract those muscles for 5 to 10 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then relax, and then you can move on. And then I'm going to also encourage you to create some movement, 4 to 6 of these movements. Okay, so I'm just going to hack, work up and down that muscle, just creating some movement with this lower leg, just bending the knee. Boom. Okay, I'm going to repeat that again so that I, can try to attack as much of that area as possible. Just bending that knee. Add some additional inhibiting and lengthening at the same time. So that was the quadricep, variety of muscles that run through here. But we want to focus on the area that, again, calls your attention from the knee to the hip. Work up and down. Spend some time on those tender areas as prescribed, and do both sides. Now, I'm not going to perform both sides in this video, but you're welcome to pause if you are watching this after the live training, and then perform the other side the same. Right? I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next muscle. If you take your fingers and sort of grab your hips, right? The one in front, the thumb, we're going to work on this muscle. Okay. So if you can just, again, start from this front part of the hip, and the muscle, the TFL, is going to run from here and to the side. Okay, it's about mid thigh. So right about here. All right. So Just place your hand right here on the more anterior part of the hip, and it'll run at about the mid thigh, and we're going to work on this specific area. Okay. Now, here I'll start with finding my position. Okay. And so I'll use my elbow in this foot that I'm not working on, the leg that I'm not working on. That's going to be my weight bearing foot. So I'll plant it. So I've got a solid sole, but the elbow and the foot is what I'm going to use to control my weight pressure. Now, for this one, though, I'm going to want to put the foot in front so I can sort of get to that anterior portion of the leg. And I'm just going to roll. And then grab the lateral part, about mid thigh, and then that sort of anterior portion. And it's all the same. You're just rolling up and down, side to side, and just trying to work in those areas that are really, really needing a little attention, that are overactive, that are tender, that really call to you. And when you find those extra tender areas, you're going to hang out there 30 seconds to 60 seconds. You can use both arms if you need to support your weight, however you will. Go to this position here if you choose as well. Whatever works for you. And again, you're just moving up and down, taking your time, 1 inch per second. Don't rush the process. And I found a spot right here that I want to work on. So what I'll do is I'll just try to get comfortable, find that spot. I'm going to hang out here, breathe into it through my nose, out my mouth. I'll do that for 30 seconds, and then I'll squeeze and contract for that 5 to 10 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'll relax. Okay. Now I'm going to also add some movement. So for this one, I'm going to straighten my knee and then lock out my hips. Boom. Okay. Slowly creating movement patterns. 4 to 6 of these is ideal. Slowly. All right. And that's about 4 or so. And then that will include the inhibiting of the TFL. The next, we're going to go into the IT. Okay. This lateral part of the thigh. Now, this one can be very, very tender for many of us. And again, the more tender it is, the more we need to spend time working on this specific area. So this entire lateral portion here, all right? So same thing. We're just moving around, finding those areas that need your attention. Hang out 30 seconds, breathe, contract into it, sifting, and then rolling, multi-direction. Adding some tacking and twisting is okay as well. And so the lateral portion of the IT. Make sure that, of course, that you do the TFL on the opposite side as well, so we've got a good balance. Right. So same real position. I'm going to start with sitting on the foam roller, and then what I'm going to do is position my foot. Just again, like we started the other one, and then you can grab the foam roller however you feel you need to balance yourself. Got both hands and one foot. So I'm going to start by keeping the foot behind. I'm going to roll up and down. That's pretty tender. Ooh, that's pretty gnarly. Okay. 1 inch per second. Do not rush the process. If it hurts, you're going too fast. We're putting too much pressure on it. Okay, I'm going to put the foot over the top just to work a little bit more towards the front portion of this muscle. Nice and slow. Again, using the foam roller in the hand on the foam roller, and then the hand on the ground, and the foot to control the pressure of the weight. Ooh. All right. This one's pretty gnarly. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some contraction. I got a spot right here that I'm going to work on. I'm just going to hang out for first, 30 seconds, just breathing into it. Squeeze for 5, 4, just contracting that muscle. 3, 2, and then 1. Whew. Okay. And then adding some movement. So bending and straightening that knee. Okay. However, you feel you need to balance your support your weight. Go ahead and position yourself so you're comfortable. Oh, that's gnarly. So yeah, as I'm adding movement, I'm finding a bit more. Um, it's a bit more intense. Okay, but adding movement throughout the entire length of that muscle is key. Okay, so just bending, extending that knee. Oh, that's gnarly. Whew. All right. Ugh. All right. And that concludes the inhibiting phase. Worked on the quadricep um, and the TFL as well as that IT. All right. The next part, we're going to go into the lengthening. So just a couple lengthening techniques or stretching techniques to really improve the range of motion and the movement of this whole system here. So what you'll need is a couch and just a flat surface, just like we're using now. All right, let's begin. I'm going to reset my clock. Now for the first one, this one's really going to test your flexibility here in this quadricep area. And so what you're going to do is take your foot that you're working on, position it close to the wall or the couch, and you're going to start here. Now, the idea here, I'm going to demonstrate where the idea, what the goal is. The goal is you want to be able to sit upright, this position here. Okay. Now, if you're stiff and tight, it's going to be hard. That's okay. We're going to work at it. So start with slowly work. We're going to slowly work at it. So start with your knee against the couch, and then here. Okay. Now, the next step, bring one foot forward. Right. Hang out here. Now, from here, if you feel that you can go a little further, next step will be to place your knee or your elbow on your knee. Boom. Okay. And slowly working up to the full upright position. Now, if you find that this is the spot, this is where you need to hang out for a while because it's tight, then just hang out 30 to 60 seconds. I'll work out, I'll work from here and then I'll work into the standing position. But when you're here, it's a contract about halfway through for 5 to 10 seconds to get a deeper stretch. Breathing into it. Relax and allow that muscle to stretch. Again, you get to that full upright position. And then from here, you should be able to contract the glutes. Make sure those are still active at any of these positions. And that will be the lengthening of the quadricep. So 30 to 60 seconds. You can raise that hand up overhead. Of course, you'll perform that on both sides. The next stretch, you can do it from a standing position or you can do it from a kneeling position. And I believe that because of the um, commonly, many of us, have a hard time kneeling on the ground. Um, I'll just show you both of them actually. It's really the same thing, just kneeling or standing. So the kneeling, what you're gonna do is you're gonna place, turn this way, one foot in front, one foot in back. Now, take this back foot and you're gonna turn it inward. And then raise your arm overhead, a slight lean, and you're going to feel that stretch here. Might even feel it here, but we're trying to target that TFL. Okay. You can even bring that foot forward a little more. You can engage your glutes just a little bit. Turn that foot in if you need to a little more to get that TFL stretch. And then it's going to drive, lean over, find that stretch. I'm going to hang out here for 60, up to 60 seconds. So again, squeezing the glutes, the bottom, the butt, and drive that hip forward is going to really find or help you achieve that stretch we're looking for. Okay. Now, about halfway through, I'm going to squeeze a little extra hard to get that second range of stretch. 5 to 10 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax and allow that stretch to expand just a little more. I'll hold this for a total of 60 seconds. Right. And of course, you're going to do that on both sides. Pause the video, perform the second side if you are watching this after the live session. And then I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate the standing TFL stretch. Adjust the screen a little bit. There we go. So for this one, you're going to step forward. Same concept. Just going to turn that foot out. Okay. And then find that perfect base. You're going to slightly tuck the hip. So you can squeeze the glutes and sort of slightly tuck it. And then add some weight forward. Find that stretch. You can even raise a hand up overhead. Again, you're trying to make sure you engage the glutes and sort of tuck the hip, or engage and tuck the hip. And then as you're doing the stretch, so turn, engage, tuck, and then raise a hand up overhead. You should feel that same area sort of begin to lengthen. Hang out here for 30 seconds. And at that point, you're going to contract for 5 to 10 seconds. Just breathing into it. I'll contract for 5 to 10. 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to relax. And I'll hold that for the duration of 1 total minute. Okay. And as always, perform that on both sides. Now, I highly encourage that you do this every single day. If you have some low back stiffness, dis-ease of any kind, it's very common that the quadriceps and the muscles of the anterior lower lumbo pelvic hip complex are overactive and shortened, causing that pelvis to be imbalanced. And so use this every single day. And then as I add in other activation phases for the posterior side, for those muscles that are underactive, and lengthen, you can use them together and really focus on restoring that to overall have a healthier lumbo-pelvic hip complex. And as always, you have access to the assessment course. It's a full course, a downloadable form that you can use with all the strategies that have from inhibiting to lengthening to activation to integrating and ideally restoring the entire human movement system. It's a program that I've used for myself and many others. So use that. It's in the foundations course, the first course in this group. Perform the assessments first so that you can reveal those posture, movement imbalances, or even the motor control loss, and then use that, assess, find those faults after you perform the assessments, and then choose a program, which is in the overview section of that Foundations 101 course. And it's all yours for free, guys. Just takes a little bit of work. If you have a hard time getting through that, you can always reach out to me, schedule an appointment with me. We'll do a live free one-on-one assessment where I'll take you through it and fast track your assessment so that you can get started on your strategies immediately. And Dave Saldivar, appreciate you guys taking the time to check out this video and use the training. I hope you find value in it and you use it in your everyday life, pre and post workout, pre and post, task throughout your day. Change your life. Look forward to seeing you guys in the next training session. Have a fantastic rest of your day.